2022. One, we want to let go of the past. We want to let go of harboring the energy of what should and should not be, or should or should not have been, or what could have been and wasn't. That is called, that's wishful thinking, and it keeps us in a loop of stagnation. So in terms of going forward, and please be aware that the multi-dimensional universe, which is the outpicturing of the heart mind of the infinite, is always progressing to reflect and reveal God's infinite nature. So there's always, so from our perspective, we would say it's always going forward. The universal, what universe is, to reveal the infinite nature of God. So for us to go forward and not be stagnated, we have to let go of what should have been, what should not have been, and to go through an inventory of where we're holding that kind of energy about ourselves, missteps we might have taken, mistakes, things we said that we wish you could have taken back, or things we wish we should have said that we didn't say, things of that particular nature. It's over now, okay? So besides making amends to people that you may need to make amends to, even yourself, we want to let go of the energy of what should or should not have been, you see. That's number one. Number two, we want to embrace the good that has happened in this past year. We want to look forward. We want to search it out. We want to embrace where we've progressed in our lives. We want to embrace blessings that have occurred in our lives, things that we might have taken for granted. Now, you may have heard me say this over the years, that the enlightened are grateful for what most people take for granted. That as you become enlightened, as you become more awake, more aware, as your filters become cleaner and cleaner, you take less and less for granted. Even the next breath you're about to take, the next beating of your heart, being able to walk, or whatever the case may be. So we want to scan this last year, and we want to not overlook the good that came into our life. And I know that we've been under siege with the continual countdown of how many people have caught the virus, how many people have gone to the hospital. The mind has been on a kind of a loop of negativity. But if you search hard enough, there's been some blessings in your life. There's been some people that have showed tremendous amount of loving and caring towards you. That you did not go an entire year without activating some level of potential within your own being. But where do you want to shine the light? You want to let go of what should or should not have been, absolutely. But you want to begin to embrace the good that has happened. Now, why is that so important? Because we're not really human beings. We're not flesh and blood. We're spiritual beings. We're vibrational spiritual beings. We're mainly vibration and energy. And so as you begin to embrace the blessings that have occurred, regardless of how small your mind may make out it to be, the vibration of your being changes. Then what happens there? Your chemistry changes. This inner pharmacy that you have within you begins to produce tonic chemicals that vivify the body, that activate the immune system, that bring coherence around the brain, that creates a greater degree of creativity and a greater degree of resourcefulness and intuitive hits and direct knowing and intelligence flowing through you by simply raising your vibration. But this you cannot do if you're stuck in the stagnation of what should or should not have been, or all the mistakes you've made. We're not saying you don't deal with those things. You look at them, and then you begin to, as we'll do tomorrow, you begin to systematically, spiritually release them. And then secondly, as I said, you will begin to embrace the good that's in your life, that has happened, you see. And someone is writing that Jesus is love. And that's true. Jesus did bring the message of divine love on the planet in a very powerful way. He says, love God with all of your heart and soul. Love your neighbor as yourself. However, if you don't love yourself, you'll have no love to give to your neighbor. So this whole expansion of consciousness is not selfish. Because you can, if you're in self-judgment, hypercritical, then you're going to be judging others and being hypercritical of others. So we have to have a high degree of self-love and appreciation for ourselves, you see. Thirdly, you want to really see, as you move into this year, what your soul really wants and how it really wants to unfold and manifest. That means you want to be in contact with your higher self, your real self, who you really are, and then from that point of view, ask, what do you want? You don't want to, just think about this for a moment. Remember when you were 14 or 12 or 10, and that being, as sweet as that being was, had a lot of wants and desires. Now, do you want that aspect of yourself to run your adult life? You probably don't. That aspect of your life ran that age-appropriate dimension of your life. But you wouldn't want, those wants and desires of a 10-year-old, of a 9-year-old that didn't have that much maturity to run the rest of your life. So this is why I'm saying you want to begin to understand who you are, and then let your soul be your guide as to what do you really want in life? What do you really want to contribute? What do you want to give? What do you want to manifest? You see. Now, tomorrow we're going to do an exercise, some strategy around that. Some of it's going to be within the context of visioning, and some of it will be in the context of an exercise in which you'll get in tune with a feeling tone of your real nature and being, and then you can ask from that level. You can ask from your higher self level, not just from the younger version of yourself, or not just from the wounded version of yourself, or not just from the triggered version of yourself, or not just from the fear aspect of yourself, or asking from the pain body or the fear body. But you want to begin to tap into your soul by asking from being connected to your soul. This is what life visioning is all about. So we're going to have like a two-pronged exercise to help flesh that out. And then we want to establish a vibrational intentionality. Again, for those of you who have heard me teach for many years, you've heard me say that many people suffer from an intention deficit disorder. They have no intention. They flit. Their attention is easily snatched up by other people's agendas, by fears, doubts, and worries, by the social milieu, by the popular conversation that's going on about maybe pop culture and things of that particular nature. I saw a movie the other day in which it was a spoof on how shallow we can be as human beings. When an emergency was happening and people were really concerned about a high-profile celebrity breaking up with her boyfriend and getting back together, it was a spoof on our society of how we can get caught up in things that are so unimportant, you see. And so that begs the question, are we living an intentional life? Are we establishing an intention and holding the vibration of that intention? Or are we just going out into the world just to see what's going to happen and how we're going to react to something? Now, if you're doing the latter, as Howard Thurman says, if you don't discover, this is, obviously this is not a direct quote, but in essence, he was saying, if you don't understand the nature of your own soul, or you have it he called it the genuine, if you haven't made contact with the genuine that is within you, then for the rest of your life, you're going to be dangling on the strings as a puppet with somebody else holding the strings. You have to get in contact with the genuine within you. not that which is outside of you. There's an inner authority here. It's your soul. It's the essence of life as you. You have to listen to that more than you listen to the words of the world. Or you'll be dangling like a puppet on the strings that somebody else is holding.